So in the WTF, we have a segment where there's a conversation had when we speak about oneness, and I cover oneness in the angle of energy, but also in reflecting on time. And I make this comment that there is only one energy and there's only one moment. Who's heard me say that before? You've heard me say it in OMG programs. There's only one energy, there's only one moment. All right? So it's time to now dissect this conversation, this one statement, that there is only one energy and there is only one moment. Okay, what does that mean? Right? Now, I know when I say ultimately it means nothing, you know, because we spoke about meaning and purpose, and everything just means nothing until you place a meaning onto it, right? But if you can reflect on its, on probably a different way to say what does it mean is what would life look like? How would you view your life? How would you experience your life if it's just one energy? So I'm just going to place the word, what does it mean? Is that all right? Because I can't find another word to say, well, what does it mean? Because it's, you know, what does it mean for you? What does it mean when I say there's one energy, one moment? Once we can talk about what it means, then you can let go of what it means. But we need to talk about what it means first. So why don't we start with one energy? The one energy time, the one energy conversation is pretty simple for you guys to grasp now because we've spoken about it so many times. It's a conversation that can easily be digested. When we start talking about the one moment, that's a lot more difficult to be digested. So let's just start with the conversation of one energy. What does it mean that there's only one energy? Well, very simple. It means that there is only one energy. And a conversation or an interpretation by the mind would be, well, that means, and this is what I talk about, the kindergarten level of understanding of one energy, which is really oneness, right? The kindergarten level of the interpretation of this in the kindergarten level is, in other words, intellectually, right? Because intellectually means the identity still exists or forms still exist. Intellectually, one energy means, oh, one energy. Well, that means you and I, we are connected, right? Because there's only one energy. So you and I, and all of us, we are like, they say, brothers and sisters on this planet. We are all connected because there's only one energy. But if you listen to this conversation you're having with yourself or this reflection that you're having, one energy means there is no you. Because you and me are connected, that's two. Or I and this energy are connected, that's still two. So one energy means all there is energy. Now, when I'm talking about energy, what are we talking about here? It's the emptiness. It's the formless. It's the nothingness. The nothingness that you experience when we do the oneness meditation. You expand outwards, and when you go into nothingness, you feel everything. Why do you feel everything? Because it's energy. Now, here's the thing, right? You feel everything within that energy. So, to feel everything, there has to be nothing. Because the moment there is something, then it can't be all things. There's only one thing. So if you take this and we dissect this a little bit more, the reason you feel everything in that nothingness, the reason you feel happy or joyful for no reason, is because in that moment, you are not only connected to all things, you are all things. You are in all places. Because the one energy is everywhere. And within or amongst the emptiness of the one thing, the one energy, you form yourself into form. But the form is also nothingness. I mean, this is now scientific. The chair, the hand, the body, anything that is physical is actually empty space. 99% empty space, 99.99999% empty space, they say. But what is that empty space? It's energy. It's infinity. Infinity can't be in physical, because the moment it's physical, the moment it's formed, the moment it has an identity, it is finite, because it has a beginning and an end. So even physical is actually the nothingness. So all there is the nothingness. Now go back to your experience when we go and expand out into the oneness meditation. You do the expansion and you go out and you feel the nothingness. You feel the emptiness. And amongst the emptiness you feel all as though everything's there. Why does it feel as though everything is there? Because when you are experiencing oneness, or when you are allowing yourself to remove the idea of perception aside momentarily, then in that moment you are experiencing, and this will be reflected in the months of manifestation or the months of will that I've covered, the willingness. Everything that, and I always say this, everything that's ever been formed or manifested, whatever word you have for it, anything that ever will be manifested, or anything or formed that is currently formed, exists. Do you understand? If there is only one energy, that means anything that was ever manifested, anything that ever will be manifested, anything that is currently manifested in form, it already exists. Therefore, you don't need to manifest. And we've spoken about this in the month of manifestation. Which part of you needs to manifest? The ego. You don't need to manifest. You just use something that is already a part of you. You just decide to express that part of you. And when you express that part, because what are you expressing? That part of you is formless. What do you think you feel inside of you? What do you think when you feel something feels true for you? That's formless energy. A feeling that is true. And I'm not talking about emotions, and you guys are now in month 11. I don't need to distinguish the difference between a true feeling and an emotional reaction that is coming from your perceptions or the ideas that you've created here. I don't need to cover that, right? We know what feels true for us. When some of you are still identifying that, that's fine, right? But I'm not going to cover that right now. We're now at an advanced level. When something feels true for you and you go, I feel this is true, that feeling is formless energy. That means what you're feeling already exists. That's why you feel as though it's already done. And all you're doing is allowing the feeling to come out, which is an expression of the formless forming itself into physical form. And what's physical form? Formless. There is this appearance that it is now physical. Just like there is an appearance that the moon is is shining so bright. The moon has so much brightness or so much light. That's an appearance. The moon doesn't have any light. It's the sun shining its light onto the moon that is causing a reflection, and then you go, the moon is so bright. It's not bright, it's complete darkness. It appears that way. So when the feeling begins to form itself into physical form, it appears that that physical form is now its own entity, and it has its own cause and effect. But that physical form is only there because of you. In the metaphor I always talk about, you are the sun and you shine your light onto the moon. But then you forget you're the sun and you go, wow, how beautiful is the moon? It's so beautiful. Or, wow, how dark is the moon? There's no light on it. It's you. You put your light onto the moon or not put your light onto the moon. That makes it dark or makes it light. It's you. You shine the light onto your life that makes it bright or makes it dark, or not shine your light onto your life and makes it dark. Because you, in the metaphor, you are the sun. You are the power. So, one energy means it already exists. Anything that you can comprehend already exists. Anything that you feel. That's why when I say if you feel something that is true for you, it's impossible not for it to happen. Because the fact that you felt it means it's come from the sensations of the possibilities of that one energy. It's impossible. So anyway, I don't want to get into manifestation here, right? But it will weave into here, it just normally does. But that's what I always talk about in the previous months, and I say it already exists. But then the mind feels something and goes, I want to create this. This feels true for me. I need to create this. It's already created. It's already manifested. It is currently it is in formless essence, which is the feeling that's moving through you. And if you allow yourself, choose to follow the feeling, choose to follow the decision that's already made, that feeling is the decision made. Remember, the one doesn't make decisions. You just notice that the decision is made. That's all you're doing. You're becoming aware or noticing the decision you've already made. So all I do is use this part of me, which is a small part of me, to choose to follow the decision that's already made. What does that do? That allows me to become one with the feeling. And then I feel it's done. You don't know why it's done? But you're done because you can feel its essence, it's done. And then what's done begins to express itself or manifest itself into form. And then some people go, oh, the form happened because I worked hard last month. This result or outcome happened. No. You need a story of why or how it formed itself. You see, you form the feeling through the story. And then you get confused and you go, well, it's because Sandy came and gave this to me. No. You just manifest a story, and in this story, Sandy came and gave something to you. Because you just put your power back into Sandy or back into the drop. One energy means it already exists. One energy means its existence. One energy means its infinity. And when that one energy manifests itself into the form is still energy. The confusion or where you lose it is then you think the form is separate to you. And then you try to control it, you try to hold on to it. It's all you. One energy. There's only one energy, one moment. One energy means anything that ever will come into existence, anything that ever did exist, and everything that currently exists already exists. Any idea that you ever have in the future, any idea that you ever had in the past, and any idea that you're having right now all exists simultaneously because it's one energy. You can't say this life that you're going to manifest tomorrow, or this idea that you're going to have in business tomorrow, somewhere in time, and this will make sense once I cover time. You can't say it never existed. It's something new. Because if it's one energy, it always existed. If it's one energy, it was never born, it never dies. That's what one energy means. Because if it's born or dies, which is what happens in the story, then it's not one energy. But what we know in the truth, or truth of the story, is that the thing that we perceive to be born or die actually is not being born or die. It already exists. That's why I say you're never born. You're always here. You never die. You're always here. But in the formless. In the formless. But you, as the ocean, because the ocean, in the metaphor, it's already here. But the moment you are born, you create a little bubble in the ocean. You know, if you some areas of the ocean, some areas of the water, you see lots of bubbles. And that bubble is your perception. And that perception is, this is who I am. I am this bubble. It's like the box. This is my bubble. This is who I am. I am this drop within this bubble. But what happens if you pop your bubble? What happens if you burst your bubble? Which is what you're here to do, to burst your bubble, or you pop your bubble. What happens if you pop your bubble?
You melt into one.
There's just there is no more bubble. You become the ocean. And you realize that you were here the whole time. One energy. Like, if you can grasp this conversation that I'm going on about, one energy. Everything that I've been saying to you clicks in. It just goes click. It just falls into place. And it's only when things fall into place that you can actually live what I'm actually saying. Falling into place does not mean you understand it. It's suddenly, the moment it falls into place, you're like, that sounds familiar. It's like, it feels like you already knew it. Not you already understand it. You know how people come to my seminars, they go, I know this stuff, I know this stuff. What they're really saying is, I understand this stuff, I read it in a book. It's been around for a long time. Yeah, understanding is not what I'm talking about. What they say I know is from here. Knowing I'm talking about is from here. Because the knowing from here is just understanding. When this drops in and it feels like you kind of just, it's like the floor, and the floor is your reality that you have here. It's almost like it opens up and you drop in. And it feels like a drop in. You're like, what you just said dropped in. What really you're describing is you just dropped into yourself. And it feels like when you drop in, it feels like I already know that. It feels like it feels familiar, what you just said. Why? Why do you already know that? Because it already exists. Because there's only one energy. But you built this bubble in the ocean, and you're like, no, this is all that exists, my bubble. There is nothing outside of this bubble. Hey, there's another bubble over there. But the bubble, its reality is not that strong. People think, well, it's more difficult to be present than not to be present. That is such baloney. I mean, how heavy do you feel when you're not present? And then how light and joyful and powerful do you feel when you are present? You tell me, what's fucking harder? Being heavy or being light? The reason why you think it's hard, because you're going, this is my bubble. There's nothing outside of this bubble. But the bubble, it's so easy to pop. But you've made it like, oh no, I can't get out of this reality. It's easy. It's so, the truth is, who you truly are can just go, That's how easy it is to pop your bubble, which is pop the reality that you think you have, which is my reality is I'm in this bubble. There's all these other bubbles. Hey, bubbles. You're having a relationship with all the other bubbles. And some of the bubbles, they merge together and they become one bigger bubble. And they go, you're my other half. But still, they're still in the bubble. And some bubbles get bigger, right? Making a penthouse in the prison, as I always refer to. But you're still in the bubble. You've got a big bubble, good for you. But you're still in the bubble. One energy. And it feels true. It feels like somehow you knew it. It feels familiar because what I'm saying, it is coming from what exists. Can you just grasp that one part? That one energy means all things exist. One energy means not only are you connected with all things, it means you are all things. But the energy is not things. But it is the energy that forms into things. And then we think the physical form is a separate thing. It's like in that movie, I Love Huckabees, I Heart Huckabees. I'll show in the WTF, where the guy's got the blanket. And he goes, everything, life is just like a blanket. And he talks about it being the blanket truth, which is oneness. And he goes, here's an Eiffel Tower, here's the Eiffel Tower, here's a hamburger, here's an orgasm, here's a disease. That means all things is the blanket. The blanket is forming itself into a disease. The blanket is forming itself into a murderer. The blanket is forming itself into a lover. The blanket is forming itself into a hamburger. The blanket is forming itself into an orgasm. It's all the blanket. And then the kid goes, everything is the same, even if it seems different. That's why you feel it already exists. That's why you feel like it's already done. And you're like, I don't know why it's done. I just know it's done. I mean, you've all had the reference points of that where you've like, this is done. Like, I just know I'm going to do this. It's done. Because it already is done. Because it already exists. The mind then takes over and hijacks the feeling, then goes, well, we need to now manifest or create this. Manifesting that is you becoming one with the feeling and allowing it to express through your reality. Right? One energy. Okay? What's one energy? Space. What are we going to be talking about today? Time, space, and the now. So we started with the space part. We keep talking about space. Space. How many times do we talk about this? You don't run out of money, you run out of space. You don't run out of love, you run out of space. Everything we kept talking about was space. You got to expand space. You got to, yes? And we say, how do you expand space? You become aware of your expandedness. You become aware of the space that already exists. Okay? Because the thing is, you're not expanding space. You're just becoming aware of your expandedness. Yes? So space. What's space? Energy. We're here to talk about time, space, and the now. We just spoke about space. One energy. Because empty space is just energy. I think I've driven this home enough. We can come back to it. But what is one moment then? What does it mean? One moment. Because I say in the WTF, there's only one energy and there's only one moment. So let's talk about the time component of this. We just covered the space component of it. Let's cover the time component. First of all, why did we create time? Because in infinite land, there's no such thing as time, is there? Well, there can't be. If something's infinite, it's not bound by time. Because time has a beginning and end to it, doesn't it? See, this is the most difficult part to grasp, what I'm about to cover now. That's why today's topic is time, space, and now. And I didn't start with time. I started with space. Because the space part, you can grasp that a little bit. We've been speaking about it all year. One energy in all places. Yep. So one energy means there's only one. Yep, you covered that. Like it feels familiar. But this part, you cannot grasp it in your head because your head exists in time. The heart is timeless. But everything that I'm talking about is about bringing the head and the heart together. The two parts of you together. Oneness is about bringing the positive and negative together. It's about becoming one. It's about becoming one with the feeling. Everything is about coming back to one. When you have a desire or you love to do something, this is you, and you manifest or you allow yourself to feel this, oh, this feels true, right? And the moment you say yes to the feeling, this happens. Here's you, here's your feeling. This is time. Right? And you just say yes to the feeling, and then this story gets created in time for you to experience becoming one with the feeling that you went made into two. And when you become one with that feeling, then it manifests itself into form, and then you're like, oh, look at this. But the reason you do that, to manifest something, is not the outcome or the result. It's what happens here, which is what you call the story. It's your journey that took place for you as the energy that becomes one with the energy of you saying yes to it. So I have a feeling and I go, oh, this is what I'm going to start a business. I feel true to go and do this. I feel true to start flying. I feel true to go buy this home. Whatever it is. I just say yes to the feeling. The moment I say yes to the feeling, I release it. I release the feeling. Then there's this space, time that I go through, known as the journey. And I take this journey, all right? And these are all like stuff in the story. Oh, I got to go do this next. And it's just things that you feel is true. You just keep following what feels true, and it's taking this feeling back home. You know, I talk about this in the WTF. I draw the big circle, and then I say the one manifested itself into two. Well, you're continuously doing that. And then I say it's about taking the journey back home, and I say this is the path of love. You remember I talk about that? That's what's happening. You're becoming one with the feeling that you just released. And once you become one with it, it forms itself. But it's not about forming itself. It's about this experience that you're having from going from here to here. But going from here to here, there's this thing called time. You understand? So tell me, why did we manifest time? Without time, you would already know that you already have it. The feeling arises, it puts it into two. If there was no such thing as time, it would manifest itself instantly. It's like, oh, I would love this. Instant. But it's not about instant, because you could do that in Infinite Land. It's about the experience and the game that you play on this journey for you to become one with the feeling again. And the idea is, and the point is, you're already one with the feeling the whole way. That's where someone's finding it joyful for when they're doing something that's true for them. It feels like they've already arrived. It's not about getting the outcome to have arrived. See, once you get the outcome, the game finishes. So then you go, oh, this is what next feels true. It's not about getting to the outcome. When someone is disconnected from themselves and they're just driven from here, they decide, oh, I would love to go and do this. Because if I can go and do this, I will have recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, security. This doesn't come from, oh, I lack recognition, which is all love. This already comes from love. And it feels true for you to go, oh, I love to do this. But there is time. Without time, tell me what life would be like without time. I need you guys to really ponder on this. Because the truth is, infinite being can go, oh, there's that boat. Oh, there's this. But it's not about that. It's about the experience on the journey it goes through to become one with the feeling again that it released. Now, it already is one with the feeling. I just wanted to make that clear. But it creates a story for it to perceive that it's not one with the feeling. So you see, time is what bounds the story. And in the story, you're separate. You have to experience being separate to the feeling, being separate to who you think you are, because then what you experience in the game becomes real. Without time, there would be no story. Think about it. What's your story? The story is the past, the future, and the present moment. Every single present moment has a past and has a future. This is why I say, and I've said this to you in previous months, the present moment is different from the now. The present moment is still being influenced from the past or future, because what makes the present moment is that it has a past and has a future. So, in other words, the present moment is not yet timeless. The moment now, the now, is timeless. So this is what we're going to talk about now.
So if you're being true, if you're following your feeling, so if feeling comes up, you say yes to that feeling. If you're not separating it with the story, if you're not separating it with time, and you say, yes, I feel that, but you've got this image in your head that comes up with that feeling that says, oh yes, I'm feeling to go to America or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's time. Isn't the feeling, I just feel to do something now?
Yes, right? But when you, like, the idea is to stay with the feeling, right? So when you say, oh, I want to start this business, right? It already goes to the future, right? And you allow the feeling to go. I mean, you're not going to start the business like boom right now, okay? One of the most rewarding things of building a business or working with clients is that it takes time to take them deeper. Because it's not about me building anyone who's built a company knows it's not about building a brand. It's not about building a company. The fun is the experiences, that takes place. In fact, the more time it takes, the more rewarding. Okay, it's rewarding. When a child is conceived, it takes 9 months before the child is ready to be born. Do you understand? So there is some time that takes place, and if without the time, you wouldn't be experiencing some of the things that you want to experience. It's not about the child, all right? It's about the experiences that you have in giving birth to a child. It's about the experiences that you have to raise a child. It's not like, oh, I want to have a child, and the outcome is I want them to get married and I want them to have children, and then I'll be a grandma. Without the experiences that took place from the child being conceived, to the child being born, to the child being raised, to the child being hurt, to the child being loved, to the child going to school, to the child, you know what I'm saying? Without all that, the end result doesn't mean anything. You see? And that's what we have time for, so we can experience the journey. What's the journey? The journey has lots of moments stuck together, because the journey is all moments of now, but lots of moments of now stuck together, and we call that the journey. But the mind kicks in and thinks it's about the outcome. It's not about the outcome. You have the outcome, then you go manifest another thing to go and play with. People forget that they're here to play, right? And the moment they have an idea, they think they need to make it happen. Hang on, the whole fun is what you have to go through to get there. Hey, you know, people when they're on this path, they always, how do I get there faster? How do I get there? I just want to get there. You're already there. You're just having lots of moments of it. Experience where you are. It's not about getting there. The promised land, you know, get to the promised land. Why are you already there? This is where it gets really interesting. Conversation becomes a mind bender, right? Because something that's infinite doesn't experience time, because time means there's a beginning and an end. In time, you are born and you die. Yes? Everyone is born in the story and every one of you will die. That's guaranteed. What's not guaranteed is, will every one of you live? That's the part that's not guaranteed. And guess what it means to live? You have to transcend time and space to truly live. And I'll talk about what that means. Well, what does transcend space mean? It means you fill all the space. You're not just in one drop, you're in all places. So when you're feeling oneness, you're transcending space. So what does it mean to transcend time then? But first, I'm trying to get you to realize, why do you have time in the first place? Why did you, as the one energy, manifest this thing called time? So you can experience going from here to here. So you can experience this journey. It's never about the goal, it's never about the outcome. When two football teams go to play, right? Like last month, the Roosters played Manly. Yes, we remember that game? Might bring it up one more time. Last time, yes, and you experienced the story. Now listen, last time the Roosters played Manly in the grand final, right, Pato? Yeah. So now here's the thing: if the Roosters and Manly, when they played in the grand final, when these two football teams went head to head and played each other in grand final, there was only one goal, and that was to win. One, it was to win. Do you understand? It wasn't, now I always tell you guys, it's not about the winning, it's about the playing, right? But without going out to win, the playing wouldn't feel so connected. You wouldn't feel a deep connection to the playing. So, yes, the two football teams go out to win. Without going out to win, it would mean nothing for the football players. It would mean nothing for the whole story, for the people watching. They'll be like, well done, old fella, well done. You played a good game. No one cares. Do you understand? You care because there's a winner and a loser, which what makes the game fun. However, it's the team, like I've always said, that has the ability, once the whistle's kicked off, has the ability to no longer make it about the winning. Okay? You made it about the winning just to have a deeper connection to the playing. Once the game started, you make it about the playing. What is making it about the playing? It means over here, it feels true to win. I love to win, for example. But once the game starts, it's all about here. It's all about everything that I'm experiencing in this moment. That's the moment. That's when you feel as though you've already won without winning. And when a player or a team has the ability to do that, then if they won or lost, they would just feel completely fulfilled. If they don't, if they make it completely about the winning while they're playing, they're less in the flow. That's the same thing in your life. So it's not about the winning, but you created this story that it is, so you can feel it more, so you have a deeper connection to it. You always in life, you want a deeper connection to this. Everything in life is about connection. So it's about your connection to where you're going. But if you stay to where you're going, with the winning or the outcome, well, that's the future. You don't experience what's going on in the journey, and this whole idea of winning is not why you came here. It's not what you came here to do. This whole idea of this outcome or result that you're after, that's not why you want the outcome or result. You created that outcome or results so you can have this journey that takes place. You don't want to raise children or raise a family Because raising the family is outcome. All right, bang, here you go. You had a child. Forget about everything that took place in between. Here they are. You're now taking your child down the aisle. They're getting married. You're like, well, hang on. What happened to their first footsteps and, their first farts and their first, kiss? And I wanted to be for that. You took all that away from me. That's what you would say to yourself. Why did I want it? That's what it's about. It's not about the outcome. But without the outcome, it wouldn't mean anything. So yes, winning is important. But when you start to play, it's about the playing. It's about the journey. Do you understand? Because some people go into la la land and they go, well, it's not about the winning, so it doesn't matter. So then they go and play the game, right? And they go, well, I'm not here to win. And that's where it becomes woo-woo. Well, you are. That's what makes it real. No. I don't want to be like that. I'm here about just the journey. But what makes the journey fun? It's the connection you have to the outcome. It's not staying in the outcome. It's not what I'm saying. You let go of the outcome. All right? Because the idea is oh, this feels true. You become two. So that you can experience the in-between. So many months we talked about you've got to bring space into things. What happens when you bring space into... What happens to time in space? It's like how many light years is, the next galaxy or, it's like light years. Like the time is like this... It just becomes almost irrelevant. Like in space, time is just such a... It's a drop of the ocean. Can you see what I'm saying? So when you bring space into time, it slows down. It slows down. Now the time is still there, but it slows down. Who's ever been maybe in a near, an accident of some sort? Maybe you're falling down the steps, or you're driving your car and suddenly you're in an accident, and it seems like everything just slowed down. Who's ever experienced that before? What happened there? It's like you're bending time. Because what happens is you are falling into the now. Like in that moment, you went back to your truer self, and you're falling to now. As you're falling to now, it's not like, let's say a 4-second incident would go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. That's 4 seconds. But the 4-second went like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, back into time. Can you see what I'm saying? You just slowed it down. It didn't disappear. It's still part of the story. But time, in the movie The Matrix, they say some rules are there to be broken, some rules are there to be bent. Well, time can be bent. It can be bent. And I want you to find references of where you have bent time without even knowing it. So, microphone, who had the microphone?
Making love.
Making love, okay. Or doing what you love to do, right? But I'll talk, hey? But when you're doing what you love to do, when you're doing what's true for you, when I'm speaking, when I'm flying planes, what happens to time? It disappears, Suddenly, if I was hungry before, I'm not even hungry, because a lot of times hunger is just driven by time. That's one of the things I noticed when I went on this road of, losing weight and becoming trim again. I realized that I would get hungry because I would look at the time and say it's 1 o'clock. Well, I should be hungry. And I would realize, I'm actually hungry. But it was based on time, So, but doing what you love to do. There's the a little reference point of time becomes irrelevant. So when you are engrossed and when you are deeply connected to doing what you truly love to do, there's no time there. Time becomes irrelevant. You know, now, yes, in the story there's time. So what I'm saying is that when you finish speaking, or when you finish doing what feels so true for you to do, when you finish, when you reduce the connection to what you're doing, and like you get off stage or whatever, then you're like, oh yeah, I was speaking for that long. Oh, okay. You go back into time. You go back into the story, and they went, oh, you spoke 5 minutes over time. Oh, it didn't even feel like that. Time disappears. Yes, so those who speak might experience that, but any time when you're doing what's true for you, right? What's another example I could give to you that you're experiencing time becoming irrelevant? What about when you're having a dream? How relevant is time in your dream? It's timeless, right? It doesn't exist. If you remember that movie Inception, who remembers the movie Inception? And they get put into their dreams and they experience the dream. One of the things that they describe, which you'll relate to, is that when you are experiencing the dream, you never remember how the dream began. Have you noticed? When you're having a dream of any sort, you don't remember how that dream began. All you notice is, I'm walking down the streets in your dream, but in the dream, you have this awareness or this thought that I've been coming from that way. But if you actually stop and go, where's that way? There's nothing there. Do you understand? Like in your present moment right now, in the moment now, right? There is no past. But in the present moment, rise up a little bit and come into the story, which has a present moment. Well, the present moment has a past. I was born in 1978. I did this. I experienced this at 4 years old. I experienced it. There's all these stories and all these different memories that you've stored in time. Can you grasp what I'm saying? And and none of it's real. It's just a story. It's a memory. Because what's real is what you're experiencing right now. Just like when you're having a dream, there's this story that has built from behind you and a story of where you're going. But the moment you had the dream, you just became or formed the dream, but the dream has to have a past or future. And you're like, yeah, I've been walking down the street for a little while. It's like, well, have you? Look what's behind you. It's timeless. You're only experiencing one moment. And that one moment is now. It's the only thing that's real. Even the present moment that has a past or future is the door to the now, is the space where you can experience both the past and future in the now. It's a pinpoint. It's the middle of the seesaw. You go into the past, you can experience big positives and negatives. Big positives and negatives. You go into the future, you can experience big positives and negatives. You come into the present moment of the story, what happens to the ups and downs? It gets less and less. You go into the now, the past and future and the present moment. It's like they're different colors, blue, green, and yellow, and they merge into one and become one color. What happened to the blue? What happened to the green? What happened to the yellow? When they're put together, like an artist, when they're putting colors together, it becomes one color. It's not three colors anymore. It's not the past, the future, and the present moment. The colors become one. You can't see where one color starts and one color ends anymore. It's just one color. There is no more blue, green, or yellow. It's just one color. What happens when you put blue, green, and yellow together? Any artists here? Let's say you get, maroon. It's just maroon. There's no more three colors. Just like in a rainbow, there's 7 different colors. You can't see where one color starts and one color ends. The time of the past and the future merge into one. There's only one rainbow. But there's this appearance of different colors. One color. All the colors come together and become one. Timeless. One moment, One energy. So, let's keep unraveling and go a little bit deeper. So the truth is, all we have is now. And let's ponder on that for a sec. If everything that ever happened, if everything that will happen, if everything that is happening in one moment, and that one moment is now, which we refer to as the now, well, when is now the time then? You know, people go, well, I don't know if it's the right timing. Or they go, oh, now's the time. Now is the time. We need to have a conversation about that then. When is now the time? And let's talk a little bit about some of the everyday stuff we experience in time and space. I talk a lot actually, about non-planning. Yes? And I say to people, well, if the flow or the effortless power that you experience is when you are in the now, well, how can you plan the now? You can't plan the now. However, there is a plan unfolding from the now. And I want to talk about the difference with that. Because I always say to people, I don't plan, and they ask a few questions here or there, and I go, well, there's a difference between planning and a plan unfolding. Which part of us is looking to plan? The mind, the ego, whatever you want to call it, the drop. Okay? And what's its plan? What's its ultimate plan? Why is it planning? Why is the part of you that is experiencing itself as a drop, as a separate individual, what is it looking to get from its plan? Control, ultimately, to ensure that you get recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, or security, which are all forms of love. They are forms of love. Forms of love comes from the love that you get from form. Forms of love, which is not the real love, it is a version of love, it is the shadow of love. Forms of love come from the love that you get from form. Yes? You can remember that? Forms of love come from form. So the part of you that's perceiving to be separate is looking to get recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, security. It's looking to have control, to get love. That part of you plans. That part of you, the plan that this part kicks in is, I want to get this. The plan that unfolds from within you is, I want to bring this. Why does it come from I want to bring? Because it already feels recognition, approval, acceptance, recognition, approval, acceptance, whatever. It already feels love because it's coming from the infinite love. So therefore, it's not about making a plan to get. It's about letting a plan to unfold, to bring, or to give, or to express from that which already is, not that which I can get. Do you understand the difference? It's different. Here, you're planning to get, planning to attain, to get there, to have that, because if I can have that, then I will have recognition. Here, you don't want, your love is in expressing the love. Your love is not receiving something back. And that is a plan that unfolds. Okay, so in my everyday life, in my business, in my relationship, in everything that I'm doing in my life, I don't make a plan. But don't get me wrong, there is a plan that is unfolding moment by moment. I am noticing it. The moment I decide to act on what feels true, that is the plan unfolding. And the desire, okay, and this is why I always say, the love or the plan, the question is, who loves and who's planning? Because over here, the one that loves is loving in order to need to be loved. In other words, the love is driven by need, which is not love. You love to do this because when you're doing this, you're experiencing love. So it's the need to be loved. So all the plan is about controlling and to make sure that you're loved. It's all about the outcome. It's all about the future. You do not fall back into the present moment. It's all about the plan. So I wanted to give that because planning, people get a little bit, they're just like, I'm not planning. Yeah, okay, but what do you feel in this moment? Because sometimes the I'm not planning is like I'm not doing anything. You see, it's such a fine line between becoming woo-woo. I don't plan. Okay, great. What do you feel to do now? Forget about that. What do you feel to do now? What do you feel in this moment? If you feel nothing, then do nothing. I agree. But the point is, most people feel to do nothing because they're not actually in the moment. And they're like, I don't know, I don't feel anything. Because they're not in the moment. Which brings me back to that same question. When is now the time? When is now the time? You see, if you felt something that was true for you, you felt it in the now. And when you feel something that's true for you, you feel it for the now. If it was for the future, the feeling will come to you later. The feeling came to you now. Yeah, I know, Amir, this is what I feel to do now, but now's not the time. But why the hell do you feel that way? I don't know, I'm premature in everything. It's premature, go away. What they're really saying is, the money, or I don't have the time right now, or I don't. It's story related. I'm going back to what I deal with every day. It's story related. When I felt to go flying, I don't go, well, hang on a sec. Right now, I'm about to do something big in my business. I reckon in the next 3 months, I think I'm going to be consumed in my business. It's not the right time to fly. But why did I feel it? It is the right time. So then I say, yes, I'm going to start flying. Then I wait until the feeling moves next. The other day, I was having dinner with a few friends, and he's got a big boat, nice boat, my friend. And I said to him, and back in the days, I used to have a timeshare with boats. And I said, do you know of any companies that do timeshares? Because when he was talking about the boat, I was like, I want to get a boat for this summer. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. I felt to get a boat. And I asked him, do you know any company? Because the company that I used to do timeshares, they went bust. He goes, no, I don't know. And that's all. I just decided I would love to have a boat. The next day, I'm going through to Sydney Airport, and there was a big billboard, own your own boat. I told Sally, get that website, because I was driving the car. So she got the website. I didn't ask for it again. I'm in the hotel later that day, or maybe the next day. She goes, hey, do you want that website you want me to write down? Can you see? It just keeps coming to me. But I had to if I went, geez, I'd love to have a boat now for this summer. I mean, perfect timing in the story even. But then I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing a lot of flying right now, and maybe that's extra cost, and but why did I feel that would be fun for the summer? I didn't feel it last summer. I decide to follow the feeling, then the little pieces find me. This billboard's there. Sally comes up to me and goes, right, here's the website. I look at the website. Great, I contact them. They send me a price list. This is what's happening. Like, yes, okay, great. Let's proceed with this. But to this point, I'm still not thinking, is this a good idea? You know, I mean, this could be a bad idea. Will I have enough time? How much more expenses is this for me? That doesn't come in yet. And it will only come in if it's relevant. That part doesn't come in, because if that part comes in, then I go back into, which part of me comes from that part? The drop. So then, well, the drop's going in, and when things don't manifest, it's when the drop's trying to manifest. Well, hang on, the feeling didn't come from the drop. Why am I going to the drop relative things? What, do I have time? Do I have money? Do I have, you know? Who else had their hands up? Boyd.
So, just so I can understand what's going on, you had this feeling for the boat. It just came up, oh, we've got to have, boat sounds great for summer or whatever, yeah? So you basically said, yeah, that sounds great. And then poof, it's gone. There's not that feeling still there. It's just, yep, I've accepted that. Is that?
There's no thinking around it. It's just like, when I first had my training wheels of using what I'm saying to you, I feel something, and it takes me a while to actually go, yes.
Yeah.
Okay? Because immediately it's like, what about this? What about this? What about that? Now without the training wheels, it's just, oh, I would love that, right? And the feeling is pure, meaning it's not agenda driven. It's not like, oh, I would love that. Then all my friends think I'm successful because I've got my own boat or whatever. Can you see what I'm saying? And by the way, I'm just doing a timeshare, so, you know, on a boat, not a, you know. But anyway, that's what it is. But that's got nothing to do with it. But the point is, when the feeling is pure, right, and I don't have to think about the feeling any longer, I just go, I love that. That's it.
So it's sort of like...
And most people do that too. They go, when some feeling is pure, they go, oh, I would love that, but they can't let go of that being, they can't let go of the feeling. They hold on to the feeling.
Yeah.
I would love that, and then they hold on, they don't let it go, and then they go, but how is that possible? I can't let it go. How would it be possible? They hold on to it. So when you first have your training wheels, it's just like, well, you know, you hold on to it. It takes you a little while to make a decision that, yeah, I want to get a boat for the summer.
So that feeling comes up, and at some stage, hopefully, you decide that, yeah, I accept that. Yeah, that's part of me. And then poof, it's not that I'm attaching to that. It's just, yeah, that's part of me. And then there's no thinking about it. And then, as you're saying, you go along and, oh, there's a sign. Comes up again. Yeah, I feel that. You know, Sally, write that down. And it's not holding on to that feeling. It's just saying, yep, in the moment, that's what I'm feeling.
Never hold on to it.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Most people hold on to it. They don't release it. And how do you know you haven't made a wholehearted decision? Because you're still holding on to the feeling. And you're going to get to a point where you're just making wholehearted decisions very easily. At the beginning, you don't know what that is. So you're like, like you're trying to, you have to sit with it, and you know, it's like jumping off a little diving board into the water. You know, you're like, oh, you know, if you just don't think about it and jump it, it's you know, that's what it becomes like. You know, at the beginning, when you're diving off the top diving board, you're like, at the end, you're like, because you're thinking about it, like you want to go, but you're thinking about it. But as you get more comfortable, you don't think about it. You go to the end and you jump off. You know, there's no thinking about it, and that's what it becomes like. As you use it more and more, you don't think about it, and what that looks like or feels like is, oh yeah, I would love that. But the thing is, the fact that you love something, where does love come from? It comes from infinite love. You didn't choose that you love that. Infinity goes, hey, I would love to experience that boat through you. You as the one. So it's coming from infinity. What am I going to say to my infinite self? No, we can't do that because that's not possible. Can you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I didn't even choose that I love that. The ego hijacks the love and goes, oh yeah, I would love a boat. And then when the ego thinks I decided, then the ego thinks I need to make it happen. Well, then all the things in the story come into the equation.
And that's
But the things in the story don't come into the equation for me because I'm coming from the one energy, one moment.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's just like, yes, I would love that. Let's do it. And that you're not holding on to it. It's gone. So therefore, how do you know you're not holding on to it? Because you don't think about it. You're not sitting there going, oh, what do I got to do? How can we make this possible? And you might be excited, but it's just thinking. I don't think about it. If you feel to do something, you do it. And again, I'm talking about what's true for you. I'm not talking about emotional reactions. Okay, so again, let me clarify that. If you feel to do something but you think you can't, okay, it's because you don't have enough space. Where's the space? In the now. You don't like love, you don't like power, you don't like money, you just like space. What is the now? We said now is love, now is freedom, now is space. You're just not in the now, and then you're not experiencing the same level of intensity because you're trying to make a decision. If you're being honest with yourself, your decision is purely designed to how it's going to affect your future or past. If you be absolutely honest with yourself, that's why you're not feeling it. Okay? Now, the moment you had that decision with India, there was a moment where you would, let's just call it randomly, but it's not random, of course, nothing's random, where you experienced being in the moment and you're like, oh my God, and you just made a decision and it all fell into place. And you're like, and then you're looking for those moments again. You're looking you're looking for moments where that you can make decisions like that again. But you were just in the moment, that's all. And then all the other decisions you're not making in the moment. It's very, very simple. People are looking for what they already have. In this moment, you experience, in the nothingness, you experience love and freedom. That's ultimately what everyone's looking for. They're looking, and some people call freedom security, some people call options, whatever. Okay? Love and freedom. That's what people look. When you have love, you experience freedom. Your freedom is in the love that you have. Right? It's right here, right now. But when someone is not here right now, they are then looking for love and freedom in what they do that's future, past related. So in this case, they're looking towards the future and going, if only I can have that, then I will have more love. Then I will be more fun. Then I'll have more options. But the thing is, you already have it. But you have it in the now, not in the future. Everything that we've spoken about so far in the last 11 months takes place in the now. Reclaim power in the now. Manifestation in the now. Space is the present moment. Unconditional love, infinite love, the space, the now. Thoughts, we spoke about thoughts. Thoughts are past and future related. We spoke about creative thoughts, the thoughts of now in the now. What else have we done this year? Willingness in the now. Ego when you're not in the now. Ego doesn't exist in the now. There's no such thing as ego. That's why you can't experience fear in the now. But like I said to you, it starts with the present moment. But the present moment is the moment of the story. It's the moment of time. This, right now, I am speaking to you in the present moment of this time. But when you connect deeper into the present moment, it's the same feeling as when you expand into the nothingness. When you expand into the nothingness, you feel everything. When you go deeper into the moment now, when you go deeper into the now, you experience everything that ever was, everything that ever is, as though it already exists. You feel like there's nowhere else to be. In the nothingness, you feel like there's nothing to have. There's nothing to do. It's just, at first it's an alien feeling, because you're like, but I've got to do something. There's nothing else. Last month, or the month before, we spoke about meaning and purpose. We said it doesn't have any meaning and purpose. The only meaning and purpose life has is the meaning and purpose you're giving to it. Well, same with time. There's nothing but now. And the deeper you fall into the now, the more connected you become with everything that ever was and everything that ever will be. Which is the transcending of time. It's timeless. Time is there to bound your story. It's there to glue your story together. It's there to glue all the moments of now together. That's what time is there for. It limits this moment. It limits the now. You are not bound by time. You just manifested time to experience your journey. To experience being born. To experience today. To experience yesterday. To experience tomorrow. But that's all it's there for, to experience. Just like when I talk about when everything is one energy. When everything is one energy and you are all one energy, you're not looking to control things or own things. Everything's already yours. When everything's already yours, you don't need to, work your way to, you just use it. You pick it up and you use it. You know what the biggest drawback between you and a person who's facing death is? And I mean, like a person who's facing death, they've been told you've got cancer, you've got a tumor, you've got 2 weeks to live, you've got 3 months to live. Do you know what the biggest drawback between you and that person who's facing death is? The biggest drawback is that you're not facing death. That's your biggest drawback. You know what the biggest benefit is? Is that you're not facing death. Because if you had a moment of experiencing what a person who's facing death and they're on their deathbed and they've got 3 months or 3 weeks to live, if you realize what they realized, your life for the rest of your life here, you will be present. You will never take anything for granted, and you will give up on the future and the past. Seriously, who knows someone who's been in that position before? How many people do you know who've faced death or been in a near-death experience, and it all becomes about now after that? And it becomes about doing what they love to do, which allows you to stay in the now. And it becomes about living for the now. That's all there is. Your greatest practice, if you could take any greatest practice, I would say your greatest practice from this program would always be, I've always said, is the ability to place your attention on the truth. But I'm going to change that now and say your greatest practice that you could ever have is your ability to recognize this moment. Because if you can recognize this moment, then you place your attention on the truth. Your attention will fall onto the truth. Take your attention off the illusion, your attention will fall onto the truth. What's the illusion? The past and future. Take your attention away from the past and future. Don't look for the now. Like love, I say love is something that finds you. You don't find love. Same thing. Don't look for the now. The now will find you. All you got to do is take your attention away from the illusion. Take your attention away from the drop. Your attention will fall onto the ocean. Take your attention away from the past and future. It just naturally falls onto where it naturally is, which is the present moment. That's all there is. You live in now, you live for now. That's it. Everything you're looking for, truth, love, oneness, inspiration, everything that you've ever been looking for is right underneath your nose. It's in who you are. Well, guess who you are? this moment now. What's the nothingness? It's who you are. What's the one moment? It's who you are. It's formless. Then you form who you are into the form. You form it and you give it boundaries by giving time. Who wants to share with me how they find the present moment? How do you find this moment now? There's probably lots of tools you can use. Meditation, find your breath, place your attention on your feet, place your attention on your hands. Lots of little things that you could do. And I'm sure you have you're all truth circus. We're on the truth circus. You're all truth seekers. So I'm sure everyone's got the little things that they do to find the now. All right? But just like anything, all right, it's about giving something space. You find the now by giving something space. You place your attention on your feet, your attention goes away from your thoughts. Your attention goes away from your thoughts, your attention goes away from the past and future. You place your attention on your breath, your attention goes away from here. Take your attention off the illusion, your attention will fall onto the truth. You do what's true for you, you stay in the moment. You then try to control what's true for you and try to determine why you're doing it or how you're doing it, you lose your flow because you go into the future. You come from the past. You bring your skills of what you experienced in the past. Well, this is how I can do it because in the past I did this, and well, this could be good for the future, and then you go into planning. You are planning, not the plan unfolding. It amazes me how many people can't do this when what I'm talking about, is actually who you are. It's easier to be who you are than who you're not. It's a lot of work to keep up the front of who you're not. And who you're not is who you think you should be, how you could be, or it would be, all that stuff. It's more difficult to be and keep up the front of who you're not. Drop the front. Take your attention off the illusion, you fall onto the truth. Realize the time is now, and now will be the time. You've experienced this in your lives. You've experienced when you are being present. Everything becomes light, everything becomes easy, you become carefree. You're out of your mind. That's what your practice is all about. You are practicing to be out of your mind. Like me, out of your mind. There's all these beings practicing to be who they already are. And they have all these different practices, formulas, modules, curriculums, tools, techniques, strategies, philosophies, modalities, in practicing to become who they already are. It's like, how fucked up is that? And everything is light. When I started this morning, I said, guys, relax. I don't know why you're all tense. Well, maybe it wasn't all of you, but I felt the tenseness in the room. Like, relax. It's light. It's not that serious. Truth has a great connection, but that connection is not serious. Head is serious. Heart is not serious. Heart is present. Heart is seriously present. Head is just serious. Serious about nothing. About, well, everything. Relax. Even you looking for the truth, don't look for it seriously. Just do what you love. Just keep bringing yourself into the moment. I'm telling you, I was And I shared that story about the meditations because I want to share with you how far from the present moment I used to be. And if I can come and become who I have become and realize what I've realized and live the way I live and share what I share with people and connect with people, seriously, you can. Seriously, you can. But just don't play these games with yourself. Bring yourself in the present moment, you won't play those games. When the time is now, now will be the time. But you may spend some time in recognizing that the time is now. And that takes some time. But when you realize the time is now, then now will be the time. You just play. You didn't come here for anything more. You came here to play. The only serious thing that I do in my life is getting people to realize that they came here to play. It's like, even that there's a lightness and jokingness with the people. Don't take it so seriously. And just know that it is only when you are in time, when you're trying to make time or save time. Anytime you're trying to make time, like get there or save time, then know you're in time. The idea is not to be in time. The idea is to let time be there, but then bring space into time. Just like everything else I've been talking about. Give it space. We talk about reclaiming power. Give it space. We talk about emotions you're feeling. Give it space. We're talking about, lack of money, lack of opportunities, lack of belief. Give it space. You talk about not being present. Give it space. You just bring space into the time. And the time bends. You have to be somewhere in 10 minutes in the story or in time. You're not going to be there until 20 minutes. Give space to this moment, and before you know it, it's like the 10 minutes slowed down to 20 minutes, and you were there and you arrived 1 minute late and it was not even possible. You didn't change the story, you slowed it down. The reason it seems slower is because it is. You slow it down. The reason time disappears is because it is disappearing. Your mind will go, well, it's not really, I just wasn't paying attention. Everything that I've been speaking about in the last 11 months, you will find now, here. It's all been stored there for you.